Welcome. In this video, we're going to find the mean of a frequency distribution table. Using the hand washing duration times frequency distribution table below, find the mean duration of my hand washing time during the month of January. So let's recall this column here. This is the class. Each of these are a class. So this is the 0 to 5 class, 5 to 10, and so on. Here in the second column, I'm going to label this F. I have my frequency. The first thing we need to do is extend our table, so go ahead and do that. Okay, so your table should be extended like this. In this newly added first column, I'm going to write midpoint of class and label that X. In the next column, I'm going to write F times X. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to find the midpoint of each of these classes and then multiply it by the frequency and write that down here. Okay, so let's find the midpoint of each class. So to find the midpoint, you want to find the difference. So let's do this 0 to 5 class. Find the difference. 5 minus 0, so the max minus the minimum, divided by 2 to get 2.5. Then we can either add 2.5 to 0 or subtract 2.5 from 5. Either way, we get the same midpoint of 2.5. Let's try this one more time for a different class. So I'm going to take the maximum value of 10, subtract the minimum of 5, divide that by 2 to get 5 over 2 and get 2.5. What do you notice? If you said these are the same values here, you are correct. Each class has the same width, so the midpoint is going to be 2.5 units above the lower value or below the upper value. So we don't have to compute this ever again. And if you don't really believe me, try it for one more class. Say 25 minus 20 divided by 2, you'll also get 2.5. So now we can either take 5 plus 2.5 to get 7.5, or take 10 minus 2.5 to get 7.5. So of course this next class would be 10 plus 2.5 to get 12.5, or the larger value of 15 minus 2.5 to get 12.5. Pause your video at this point and fill in the rest of the class midpoints. All right, you should have paused your video, and your class midpoint should look like this. So next, go ahead and multiply the frequency by this class midpoint. I'll do the first one for you. So 15 times 2.5, that equals 37.5. So 37.5. Take a moment and do that for the remainder of each class. Okay, now that that is done, we're going to label two more things. The first is here. I want the sum of all the frequencies. So I want to add all these up, and that'll tell me N, my sample size, which in this case is how many times I washed my hands. You might remember it from the previous module, but if you don't, add these up, and you'll get 173. The other thing we need to add up, we need to add the product of F times our class midpoint. So that is, we're going to add up this entire column here. So take a moment, pause your video, and add up all these values. Okay, you should have 2,717.5. So the final thing we're going to do, so our mean from this sample, which remember is X bar, well, that's equal to the sum of the frequencies times the class midpoint divided by the sum of the frequencies. Okay, I've made a little more space on my paper here. So we're going to take 2,717.5 and divide that by 173. And we get our mean, our sample mean is about 15.71. Now to interpret this, we'd say in January, so Professor G's hand washing duration was about 15.71 seconds. And that's each time I washed my hands.